What's up, guys? Oh boy, what a day. Nothing was working for me. I had, like, we had the outage with Twitter, like globally. Like, Twitter was like taking a giant dump, and then Discord wasn't working for like 2 hours for me today. And I get sketched out when my Discord doesn't work because like I can't. If I was in the middle of a signal or something like that, I'm like worried that I won't be able to communicate like the exit or communicate warning signs. And then I couldn't even log into my computer for like 2.5 hours. It wouldn't let me get in. So there's some kind of like outage there too. So the whole world, internet wise, just wasn't working for me. But I'm glad it's working now. So I can hang out with you guys and look at the charts and see what's going on, and hopefully we can find potential opportunity. We got to look at a couple of things that happened. We lost like the 200 EMA again, quite dramatically. Ever since we got that nothing burger from the crypto summit, it's just hasn't stopped going down. We got a key level that we need to hold. Green boxed it over here on my screen. We have the from 77,250 to about 74,000 we need to hold. We got an order block here on the 4 hour around 75,000. But if we lose this, we could rotate all the way down to this previous daily value area here. And the one that we've ranged in from February to October before we ran up to 110K. 10 toes down, 73K. Yeah, that's exactly right. If we lose this key level, we're going down to 72, 73K area. Like 72K is extremely strong, so I'm pretty confident that we'll get some kind of aggressive bounce off of it. Whether that to be to retest this downtrending momentum or to retest the 200-day again. Hopefully before we get a death cross, because sometimes we see the larger investors take action on death crosses. They'll exit their positions. Like the last time we had a death cross was just a micro one. It wasn't something crazy, but way back down here around I think it was around, we'll pull up the 50-day EMA and find out in a sec. It was right about, we had like this micro one here. Back in 26,000. But usually the 200 and the 50 crossing is a good key level to watch if you are unable to watch the market structural point, or if you're just learning. The 50 and the 200 are really good macro indicators to help define potential bear market starts or bull market runs. But I wouldn't recommend depending just on them because they'll give you late exits and late entries. Scott, Neath, look at the 250. They keep touching. They're not touching right now, man. So you might need to reprogram your EMAs there. So if we're looking at the daily, they've got quite a bit of distance away from each other. They're about roughly $7,000 apart. But you can see that they're starting to curve down, and the longer we trade below the 200 and the 50, the faster it's going to catch up to the price action and get that cross. How are you guys doing? Hey Kyle, great thumbnail. These workouts are really paying off. Yeah, I'm following the Tom Crown workout, getting the muscles going. Underneath my shirt isn't too bad. It's not too bad. I got like a 4-pack, but nothing like what you're seeing in that thumbnail. The thumbnail is definitely obviously over the top. I just really wanted to express my strength in trying to hold up the price. Everyone tells Kyle to fix the price action. Kyle, fix it. Kyle, fix it. So I'm trying. Anyways, we're kind of trying to find support here. We obviously don't have the structure yet to help define that, but we got a slight undercut to the green box zone here, and on the 3 minutes is looking a little bit bullish, but that's the 3 minutes, nothing compared to the large time frame stuff. The 3 minute really what it could bring us to is potentially to retest 80,000 again. What is going on with my screen here? There we go. Let's get to so the 3 minute, we're getting like a little bit of a bull pennant structure. We got to change character occurrence on the 3 minutes. When we got this high, we could get that break of structure continuation. If we break above here, let me just revise that. If we break above here, we'll get that break of structure continuation. It can allow us to retest the VWAP. The VWAP resets in a few hours. Usually it's about 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's our key barrier that I would watch out for. We have some confluence there, right? We have the VWAP, right? The daily volume weighted average price. We have a 3 minute order block, and we've got this high here, this strong high that we want to try to take out. So we got some confluence there for a rejection. So just watch out around like 80,890. If you're already in on position, then awesome job. And this is the continuation you want to look out for. If we fail to break above this high, then we could top off and then come right back down to 77,500 and maybe get a continuation down. Thanks for going live. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I was able to even go live because I had a problem trying to get everything running. Yorgas Gargalas. I can't say that 10 times fast. You sold all your Bitcoin to buy lower? I did not sell my Bitcoin. Definitely not. I do not sell my Bitcoin unless on-chain metrics are met. We can go through that together today. So I'm just holding off as much as I can. I know this price action scares a lot of people, but this would only scare me if I was still holding on after the on-chain rules are met. So let's go through the on-chain metrics, and then we can go through any requests that you guys might have for chain exposed for other assets. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to make my screen a little bit. Let's try to fit this in here. Okay. There we go. That fits. All right, so this is the Newpol chart. Let's go to the relative unrealized profits and loss chart. This chart's one of the most important ones that I watch. We can see that we are meeting this key level here on the RUP chart. But what we're going through right now, like I know it looks scary right now, but it's not. If you think about it, this could just be a pullback before we create a new higher high. We're grabbing liquidity below us. And like what Altcoin Corey says, don't trip by the dip. This is an opportunity for a lot of people to be able to get on a really good position of strength once we confirm support. Because like on chain right now, we're not even close to being exhausted. If we were to think about it in a percentage base, like in terms of exhaustion, we're only about 50% of the way there. Like we are on the RUP chart, we're labeled from the last date the system updated. We're at 1.02 and the overheated level is at like 2.35. So we're not even close to like halfway there. When we get up to these key levels, and then we start getting, even if we got like the exact same like structure we have today, but we got it while we're in the overheated zone, I would be taking action on that. So for example, if we go to the daily structure, we could see that we got this massive double top, right? And the change of character occurrence. If all that happened while the on-chain metrics were met, I would be selling all but basically 90% of my Bitcoin. Like I'd be done. A $70 tip, bro. What are you doing? I really, really appreciate it. Love for the gang, bro. We appreciate you, man. And didn't even ask for anything. I appreciate that, man. 70 Czar. What's Czar? Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I wish I had some dry powder. I don't know what that means. Well, I'll agree with you. Can you look at SUI? Yeah, we can look at SUI. I just want to go over the on-chain stuff a little bit more, and then we can jump into SUI. But yeah, this is the one metric that I watch very, very hawkishly. And if we pump straight up today, because we had this consolidation, we won't be overheated until like 150K. The last time we were in a range with Bitcoin from between like February and October, if we went straight up from there, we'd be exhausted around 120K. But we just keep on consolidating, and allowing old investors to get out and new investors to get in, creating stability in the market to extend our bull market top. So by the time we actually get to, let's say 120 or 130K, and we start consolidating again, if we range for 3 months, 4 months, then our all-time high could be like 200K before we get exhausted. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Got more otters. Throwing in what is ZAR? I gotta look up ZAR. Canadian $10. Appreciate it, bro. Is this metric also available for alts? Technically, you could build your own metric off of this. In order for this to be built, you have to have an API system connecting to all the different networks that altcoins available to, and being able to track each individual wallet of when they made a purchase or a transfer, and find out what price the asset was during that time, and like when they bought, when they sold, kind of thing. And then it kind of builds this chart. But altcoins don't typically have an RUP chart, but it doesn't mean that you can't make one. It just be a lot of work. That's all. This is like connected to like the BTC scan to allow it to track everyone's wallets. So every time there's a new wallet created, makes a purchase or makes a sale, it impacts this data. And same with the NUPL chart, NUPL chart. You can track long-term holders based on the duration of their holdings, and then the full NUPL, which is like the average of everybody. And we were pretty close to overheated levels that I watch out for. I like to watch out for anything above like 80 in confluence with being overheated in the unrealized, so the relative unrealized profits and losses chart. And we were close here. So like if you were to think of like regular trading rules where you have a set of rules in place where you have to check them all off before you make a trade decision, you could do the exact same thing by creating like on-chain metric rules like I have to define when to call the absolute tops and the absolute bottoms. And I will admit that calling the bottoms is far easier than calling the absolute tops. And emotionally, it's easier to buy than it is to sell your portfolio. But we haven't hit all the check marks yet for when it comes to trying to call the absolute tops. And we're looking at the supply that's in a profit or loss right now. About when we were at the price of 86,000, 20% of the supply was in a loss. So when this updates very shortly, we're at our current prices, then we'll probably see about 25% of the entire supply at a loss. And so right now this consolidation is giving us a good reset for allowing new investors to get in, old investors to get out, and like kind of allow us to extend that bull market top. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's really important to keep an eye on this stuff. I like to buy when we're below like 50%, right? But I won't just buy because we're below 50%, because we might be able to get lower. I like to buy when we get below like 50% and we get like a daily change of character. And that's what we did when we were looking at 16.9K when we jumped in. And now we're just doing the same thing for the opposite rules, right? Typically, we want to try to sell when the large amount of the supply is in a profit, around like close to like 90 to 100%. But by the time you get out with your change of character, you might be around like the 90%, 85% level. But so far, like the on-chain stuff helps keep me calm. So I understand that's really tough for a lot of people. And when it comes to like the altcoins, like things are uniquely taking a crazy dump. So just be aware that not all altcoins will survive all the time. They don't have to reach their all-time highs. So it's really important to like watch what the narrative is right now, because like RWAs, for example, and the new network tokens like SUI, they're all just siphoning market shares from other altcoins that keep getting lower lows and their price discovery lows. Well, you got to pick your altcoins carefully. With Bitcoin, things are a little bit easier, more transparent. But with altcoins, you gotta monitor a lot more. It's like level 2 crypto, or maybe like level 300. Who knows? But just be cautious when you're picking your alts. I'm focusing mostly on RWAs and ISO 20022 tokens, AI, like everything that's currently in the narrative, because they're siphoning away all the market shares from all the other tokens right now. But that's the on-chain stuff I just want to talk to you guys about before, just to help keep you guys calm, because everyone's looking at this like it's the start of the bear market, when really it's just a downtrend before we start a new uptrend, right? If we lose, if we go to the weekly chart and we lose this low, the strong low in the weekly, then I'll be like, oh fuck, like that's different. Like 49K, losing that would be a nightmare. But I'm very confident in the 72, 73K level holding off if we lose this local support level right here. But yeah, so right now what I would be saying, what I recommend you guys is just wait for that, at least a 15-minute change of character before making any crazy long term buy decisions with alts and stuff like that. I bought some alts that are at crazy lows right now, and we'll probably be talking about that during this live. Like Filecoin, I bought into Filecoin, I bought into Dot. I bought some more Karma, but Karma's got relative strength right now. It's kind of immune to the bear market conditions. And what else did I buy? But yeah, we'll go through all that stuff. Chainlink. What about Chainlink? Keeping holding? We can look at Chainlink too. So let's go down the list. I can start doing some TA requests for you guys. The first request was from Jeff. He asked to look at Sui. And let's take a peek at Sui and see how it's going. Sui. Okay. Sui, still looking rough. Well, an update with Sui. We were looking at Sui's uptrending momentum. Last Friday, I was doing a live with some of the community. So we got a bounce off the momentum. Then we got a ejection off of the previous value area low. This value area low came from this range-bound price activity here. Right? So this is a key area that was manipulating price. Right? We got a massive rejection off the previous value high, so we knew that it was respecting a lot of this value area data. And we've got pretty much a lack of acceptance. We tried to get higher again when we got back inside the price action here. And then eventually we came down back to low, bounced off of the momentum, hit that value area low as resistance, and then lost this more macro momentum right here that was holding up Sui since $2.25. And now we're on a downtrend, right? We lost our uptrending momentum, so now we need to track the downtrending momentum. So we can use this trend line here, right? We got a touch point here, touch point here, touch point here. So this basically just helps you track the pace of the sellers. Now, we were also talking about recently Sui reaching this level, right? And this is a relatively key level, similar to where Bitcoin's currently resting at right now, right? We have this previous value area high, right? And we're going to try to hold off that value area high. If we, instead of holding off this value area high, break down below it and have it act as resistance, which will probably look like this because of this point of control. Let's pull this up. There's point of control here. Value area low here. Let's move this a little more accurately here. Value area high. I'm just updating the text format on the right here. There we go. So if we lose this value area high, have it act as resistance, most likely getting a bounce off that point of control and then getting a lower low, that break of structure would define acceptance back inside of this value area and we could rotate all the way back down to 168 before likely getting a really strong bounce. What I would like to happen, I'm not a SUI holder, but what I'd like to see happen instead, because this is likely will come in confluence with whatever Bitcoin's going to do and whatever Ethereum is going to do. Because SUI's got a lot of Ethereum pairing liquidity, so if Ethereum drops, like SUI's going to drop along with it. So I would like to see a compression against this momentum, and then that squeeze to finding a pump back up, and maybe retest the downtrending momentum here. So we gotta watch this little triangle zone, and hopefully it holds off, right? And we'll have that recovery within the next, hopefully the next day and 12 hours or so. We got a more macro momentum here. So if we break this, we could just consolidate in here before having a stronger move to the upside, assuming this value area high holds off as support. But that's what I'm looking at for SUI. I hope that helps you out, man. But right now, our key level, which will very, very likely change, that we want to have broken to define a reversal on the 4-hour, is way up here. Now we can look at the lower time frames like the hourly. It's the same. It's the exact same. This isn't the key level because we need to have at least 2 candle pullback. However, that's a base. So that would mean that this could be a supply concern. And not only that, we also have a hourly order block. So we could come up, hit this as resistance in confluence with this level, and define a new key level for us to break, and maybe give us a double bottom recovery. And in terms of the 15-minute, we do have a lower level that we could watch. It's currently right here. However, that could change in about a few minutes, right? If we get a lower low right here, and then we start to creep up, this will be our key level, right? Because market structure have changed. This will become the new strong high. And if we break that strong high, that will give us a change of character, and then we might get a rotation back up. So we'd have to watch the VWAP as a barrier. We'd have to watch the supply zone as a barrier. But we can target the downtrending momentum. But that's pretty much it for SUI. Can we check out Move, FET? Yep. ZAR is South African Rand. Nice. Okay. Thanks for looking that up for me then. I was going to look it up after the live. What would happen to the chart if it blows the green zone? I think I answered that for you. If you're talking about Bitcoin. If we break the green zone on Bitcoin, like this is like the little demand zone that we saw. You can see it on the 4-hour pretty clearly. That's what would bring us down to like the 72, 73K area. We got some demand here for sure. So it might not hold off because it isn't too strong. But what definitely is strong is 73K, 72K area. It's pretty strong. And it was our key level of resistance from the last range-bound price action. That could flip as support. Now, we had a request to look at Link after SUI. And so we can look at Link together. Link, how are you doing, man? Link is my second biggest bag. Yeah, it's not looking hot. So we could update this value area data right here to here. And we can see that we are currently deviating away from this range-bound price action, and which could give you a great long opportunity once you see like a change of character occurrence. It's like one of my core rules. When we have that deviation, you tend to get better risk-to-reward ratio setups, but you have more barriers to watch out for. One of the barriers what am I doing right now? Oh, this, okay. One of the barriers I watch out for is the first one would be structural barriers. So if we have any strong highs that we have to watch out for, You got to watch out for those, internal and external. And then the value area low is a really important one to watch. So if we lose a value area low, it has the opportunity to act as resistance because of volume shelf levels on the fixed range volume profile or the VPVR. Those are levels of interest that can act as barriers where people might want to try to exit their positions. So watch out for those along the way up. But what we want to see is a potential double bottom structure to define us trying to get back inside this value area. But I got to look back a little bit further left to see if there's any key levels that we need to monitor for Chainlink to find if we can find confluence, kind of similar to what we saw with Sui, right? If we want to find some confluence of a potential support where we might get like a squeeze event and get a reversal, like this momentum here compressing against this value area high, we got to find what is Chainlink's next floor level that we need to watch out for. And I would say, looking at this range bound price action right here and this level right here, that we might need to look for a value area high around this level. So I'm going to pull a fixed range volume profile. And I know there's a lot of noise on my Chainlink chart because I love to trade it. I want to get some order blocks on here too. There we go. So we got order block confluence with the value area high here. So I'm going to watch this level here at basically $12 or $11.95. So we have some confluence of support there. So previous value area high. When Chainlink, we were in like this descending channel, which I really enjoyed this descending channel because it was like giving us a good reset for the market. But I hate losing it. I hate losing them, especially hate seeing them act as resistance and create a lower low like we just did. So now we're free falling down to our next value area. Our momentum's pretty steep. Like we're dropping at a relatively fast pace, especially for something like Chainlink. So here's our little zone that I would watch out for. The 4-hour order block, the ceiling of the 4-hour order block is like 11.92. And that value area high, I got it marked at like 11.91. So I'd draw like a little triangle structure to help me mentally prepare for potential long activity, potential long trades around this area here. So I want to wait for those key level to be broken around here. Right now, this is our key level, way up here. And I don't like that. That's pretty high. So we need to have at least a 2-candle pullback. For anyone who's in Brian's live this morning, we talked a lot about market structure. So that might be fresh on your mind that we need to have like at least a 2-candle pullback to define a potential strong high after giving us a break of structure. So if we get that, we have a new key level to watch. And that might be coming to us like very shortly. We might have a test of that value area low and then create a new low, defining the value area, the previous value area low as our strong high location for a change of character occurrence. Or maybe it could happen down here with all this support confluence. I love seeing rejections off of the value area low and giving us like a change of character occurrence, because like all that confluence in one spot is great for long entries, because then when you jump in, you can just target the value area high while being mindful of any supply concerns like this and the point of control. So next key level is here, but we might get something lower soon. And that's the 4-hour. It's also the hourly, so we got double time frame confluence there. We can look at the 15-minute. We have a 15-minute key level right here. If we get a new low, it'll change to here. But positioning wise, I'd rather it all happen like right here, just so we can have that confluence backing, so you don't feel like you're trading on a glass floor. But yeah, that's our 15-minute level right now. That's our hourly and 4-hour level right there. And make sure you mark that. So if you'd rather trade on higher time frames, you tend to get higher win rate because you have usually more trade participants backing higher time frames. And I like to try to keep my lowest time frame as the 15-minute. But if we have lots of volume, I will sometimes rotate down to as low as like the 3-minute or the 5-minute. Oh, Mike, you're NoFab. Cool. What else have we got? Which indicator on chain exposed shows whale, fish, etc.? Yeah, I know that's kind of hard to find, but I know my face is in the way right now. I'm just going to move my camera over. I'm just going to hop on over here. But over here on the left-hand side, you want to look for address specific. And then you want to go to address bands balances. And then you'll get your list right here. And if you're trying to follow what whales are doing or sharks are doing or what fish are doing, surprisingly enough, whales aren't the best ones to monitor. It's the fish. The fish usually call the bottoms better than the whales do. Right? So you can see that they exit right at the tops, right? They start exiting at 39, 40K, around 59K. All their balances have started to drop here. And they start accumulating right at the bottom, right? A little bit around 19K up to 15K where you start to see the fish accumulate. And that's people who are holding 10 to 100 Bitcoin. Now, the whales, they're doing a piss poor job. So they right now they've been selling since 41K and their balances are going down. Now, this could be a result of them transferring funds to other wallets. But I do believe that this thing doesn't just follow a single entity wallet, that they also monitor multiple wallets that are interconnected together, kind of like a bubble map would. If you guys aren't familiar with bubble maps, we can go through that today if you guys want me to. I agree. DOT is a scary chart. Anyone ask for Ondo? We can look at Ondo too. Yeah. Let's look at the next request. So we went through Chainlink. We went through Sui. I'm just scrolling down the list here. I think I need a mod now, guys. I think I need someone that will keep refreshing the list and like adding to the list so I don't have to scroll around and look for stuff. What would happen if the chart falls to the green zone? The green zone is when most people are capitulating. A large amount of holders are at a loss. So basically, over 50% of holders are losing at that time. And statistically, it is by far the best time to ever buy Bitcoin. It has called the bottom perfectly every single time we got down there. And just like the overheated zone has called the top perfectly every single time we got up there. So my rules are basically opportunity zone, at high time frame, change of character, Nupal chart, below the zero line, stuff like that. I have a whole video on it for you guys if you guys want to look it up. I think Chainlink is wildly undervalued right now. It's like, yeah, like what's gonna do to the world is gonna change the game. So like I highly recommend if you're thinking about investing in anything, not financial advice. If you're gonna pick an asset that's not Bitcoin, Chainlink, in my opinion, is like the second best option that you'd have in that entire space. It might not give you the best percentage-based gains, but it definitely is one of the safer opportunities out there. Vacation. What was the next request? We have FET as our next request, right? FET. Oh no, it was Grogus's request was DOT, File, and Ondo. Okay, so let's say we don't have on-chain data for DOT, File, and Ondo that in the same kind of relative way that we can get on-chain exposed, but we can track things like holder count and total value locked and stuff like that for some of these. And let's look at DOT together. So Dot, what are you doing now? So we look at Dot on the daily. So Dot, this is Dot's chart, right? This is its all-time low prices. It goes range bound. This crazy range is about 220%, right? Whenever we break these macro momentum levels, we tend to have rotations up to the value area high and have crazy crashes right back down. And it just resets the whole opportunity over and over and over again. And that's what I'm preparing for my second wave up, right? Like a lot of us got in here. I was patient. I didn't get in the bottom here. I did a scalp here, but I got in here and actually got out roughly around here, I believe, when we double top confirmed as resistance. And now we got this momentum line here. Broke that. That was an easy trade too. And now we're trying to get the next one. And I'm jumping in via spot. So I got some of my position in with the target of trying to get to like $10. If we end up seeing resistance again here, we double top, and we get acceptance to the value area, then I'll accept that and I'll get out. But I'm obviously hoping that we break this high and go into like more bull market conditions rather than just this range bound conditions that we've been seeing with Dot. But if we stay here for eternity, I'm happy. We can just keep rinsing and repeating this whole thing over and over again for the rest of our lives. That's easy money, right? Because you're like 2xing your funds every time. Now, right now, let's go zoom in a bit. Where I have this little circle is where I jumped in with a spot entry. And then we had this like little warning right here, double top warning off of the momentum again. And we're a little bit lower. So we're on our way to grab liquidity that's potentially resting around here. There isn't that much though. Let me just take a look at something. 378, 377.5. How long ago was that? That was 35 days ago. So if I pull up liquidity heat maps on CoinGlass, which is free to use, and I click on symbol, and I pull up Dot, and then we have to go back far enough so that the 35 days fits inside the screen. So it won't work for the monthly because it's 35 days, not 30 days. So we have to look at the 3 month. Because the 35 days fits inside the 3 month. We can see we have liquidity down there, and we just recently took it on Binance. Yeah, it was about 85.2 million. So that would allow a whale to jump in with a lower amount of slippage. But obviously, looking at this chart now, over the last 3 months, most of the weighted liquidity is above us. So that could be used as exit liquidity. So if you are a market maker, you would get in right now, right? And you would induce a break, like a change of character. And you can use volume metrics to kind of like understand if it's institutions inducing that break. And then we have some key levels here to watch. We have a strong high up here at like this is the Bitcoin chart. What am I doing? Let's look at, I don't know why it reset. I just realized looking at the price feed. Yeah, so, yeah, looking at DOT. Yeah, we've already kind of spoke about how there wasn't really any liquidity over here in terms of like futures liquidity. Because that harsh drop, it wasn't really safe for any form of entry. Like we grabbed literally all the liquidity that we have to grab already. What I'd be afraid to see happen with DOT is like we can see that there's obviously a lot more liquidity above us. There's tons and tons of liquidity now at $9.26. And like that weighted liquidity was pretty much what we saw like way down here before we grabbed it. And so like 9.26 is an area that you kind of want to try to undercut if you're wanting to undercut the market makers. So watch 926 like a hawk, or at least just take some of your gains off the table at that point. So if you're in a spot trade or a spot hold, if you jumped in with me, because I jumped in here, and that's what I'm going to be holding until. We're going to be holding until up there. However, I recommend notating this down. You can change your average without putting more money into your position by finding ranges like this. Let's say with price action, we break this and we see value area high, and we get that change of character occurrence, and we get acceptance to the value area, warning us that we're very likely going to rotate down to the value area low again. At that point, you could sell some of your spot bags, put a stop loss rebuy above like the strong high, and then have a rebuy set for that portion of your portfolio down here. And it's almost as if you are getting more tokens for $0. The only thing that you're really paying for is the trading fees themselves. And if you got, let's say, a bag of like 100 coins added to your portfolio or something, or 10 coins, whatever it is, you just add that to your portfolio tracker as if you got those for free, and you'll notice that your average will be reduced. And you want to do that as much as you possibly can. And it doesn't matter if you're in a profit way up here doing it, or if you're way down here doing it, it's going to keep reducing more and more and more of your average. I bought Matic, for example, at like 76 cents, and it was going in a downtrend, and I ended up using like inverse perpetual, and you can do this with inverse perpetual too, but it's safer using just a spot environment, and constantly reduce your average by just adding free coins to your bag through your trades. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you have a proven win rate and you know how to trade. But that's what I do when I want to reduce my average as much as I possibly can. Just look for ranges, sell at the top of the ranges once we confirm a loss of the value high. The same kind of way where you would use your future rules to define when you're going to enter a short, you'd sell. And when you're preparing for a long and you get the conditions to enter a long, you just rebuy. And you do that over and over and over again and lower your average more and more and more. So hopefully I don't have to worry about that as much with DOT, but I'm going to prepare for that scenario, especially if we see this level, this red line, which is like a historical level of support. If we see that act as resistance and we create a lower low, then we can go into price discovery for DOT. And that'd be kind of like the nightmare scenario. Kyle, from your thumbnail, what is your workout routine? I actually had a really good workout routine. Is doing really well for me. I can send it off to you guys. But yeah, and I also recommend like red light therapy too. That help after you're done your workout, so you can get better muscle recovery. Well, yeah, this is our current momentum right here. We could get compressed against 388, kind of like what we're seeing with Sui, and what we're hopefully might see with Chainlink for a reversal opportunity down here. Where is our DOT trade? There it is. So I'm hoping that we get a break soon. This is our current key level, but we might have a new lower level soon as price action starts to develop. Chasing the hobbits around the house. Yeah, that's a workout. You get winded. And every night, a part of our bedtime routine, they want me to carry them around like an airplane. And they're getting heavy. They're getting pretty heavy. So I have to and it's like one child at a time. So I have to and then sometimes my older son who's 10 asks me to do it too. And he's he's pushing I think he's 70 pounds now. So carrying him around like an airplane and chucking him into his bed like a rag doll is, it gets kind of exhausting. Peace blessings. Where do you think the bottom is for Bitcoin? Around 70 to 74K or 68K? 70 to 74K. is a good level to watch. But right now we're watching 78 to 74K as our first area of concern that we want to have that reversal. If we lose that, then 72 to 73K is our next strong level of support. Found some change in the cushions. Thanks, man. Welcome, Corey. Appreciate it. Did the CME gap fill? Yeah, we filled the CME gap that was over here during this aggressive pump. Like over here, we filled a large majority of it. This was the remaining of it. We got that CME gap filled. I don't have the CME gap chart open, but I'll have that open for you guys going forward if you guys track that. Like CME gaps do not need to fill, but they're important to watch if price action is relatively local to it. When we had that aggressive move up, when the weekend ended, we weren't really local to it, so it wasn't really price action wasn't really drawn to it at that time. We have CME gaps down at 3K still. They don't all have to be filled. The second best is Karma. Yeah, Karma's great. And Karma's holding strong right now. At the marketing team, we had our early big meeting this morning. Getting ready to crush it. Kyle is it in t-shirt? Must be -10 already in Canada. It is 1 degree Celsius. So it's actually pretty warm out right now. It's supposed to be warm all week. I'm really excited for it. So FET was our next request. I think we've got a FET chart, so we can look that up quickly. Yeah, we did. Okay. What do we got in the FET chart? Our last key level that we were looking at was right here, right? And we had that explosive move up, and we hit a barrier concern. Looks like it was at 77.8. I didn't take this trade, but I wish I was looking at the screen. And we hit that, and then we smashed right back down. So I can delete that now. We don't need to see this. We can delete this too. This was like an internal setup over here, where we were watching a key level that we wanted to have broken in order for us to rotate to the top of the valley area again. So we don't need that anymore either. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and see why we had that marked. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, 77.8 was a key level because it was a historical level of resistance and support, and then acted as resistance again, and we retested it. Got smacked down. We have a valley area here that we want to monitor to our left. Everything's usually technically to our left, but we got a valley area here we want to monitor. I'm just going to box this zone to save you guys time. Because we're kind of below it. And we're below it right now. Man. Let's get remove that for a second to reduce noise. And I'm going to add we have MTF OBIM. Wait for everything to populate. I get rid of some of this noise up here. I'll rotate down to the 4-hour. I'm just basically what I'm doing is I'm using an indicator to help speed up my ability to see and monitor where these order blocks are. Right, like here, for example. And I'm looking for value area constructs. Okay. Now zoom back over here. Like this value area is pretty weak, so we just bounced within the value area low, hit the value area high, and now we're coming back down further. We have the opportunity to see this act as resistance and continue down to the next value area. Down here it's 41.2. 41.2, there's a volume shelf here, and we saw there's obviously the point of control is a volume peak. So we got to watch. These are the key areas if we end up seeing this value area act as resistance. Obviously, we don't want to see that happen and create a new low, or else we're going to rotate down for a further crash, which is from that value area to this value area is like 18%. Our current structural zone that we want to monitor is way up here. But if we end up getting a retest and a lower low, then that will be our key area, and it'll be flush with the value area low. So we can use that deviation confluence and the change of character confluence for a potential long. But the R&R is not going to exactly be there for that strong barrier, right? Because we use this value area high right here as support, and we try to hold off on it. But when Bitcoin kind of like shit the bed, we fell back into this value area and respected its levels. So we got to hopefully see acceptance back inside this value area here, so we can get that opportunity to finally reverse. We're starting to get some bullish divergence, so we might return back up before getting a key level, like a new key level that could be lower. So just prepare for the fact that we might not get a lower key level. But if we break this, I would go in for the retest and then potentially enter along there if the stars kind of align at that time. But because then we can leave this value area and start rotating back up to the top of this one at 64 cents. But this is an ugly price action. Like, I'm not liking this. We got a momentum level here. We got some negative space from it. So maybe we don't break this level and get something like this instead. Oh, what's the chat? That's a huge double top. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. So these macro double tops don't have to hit their targets, just so you're aware. Like, we have all these demand zones along the way down. Like, we got 1, 2, 3 pretty decent demand zones for FET that we can get a reversal off of. And this is the level that I would watch for more of a macro turnaround in confluence with any like 4-hour or 6-hour change of character. If we break that momentum around the time we get the change of character, then the pace of the sellers have shifted, and then the buyers kind of take over. But this 77.8, the reason why I have it marked so heavily in my chart with that massive red line is because of how critically strong it is. So we need to have that broken. If we even get the change character up here, it doesn't mean we're going to rotate all the way back up here. That's obviously a target you might have in your mind, but this is the big barrier that we have to break in order for us to even think about that target. So you should manage your risk as if 77.8 is the target. But hope for the break, but manage your risk based on that being the target. The more you read, the clearer that Cubic is programmed for greatness. Okay, I'll look up Cubic. Dad reps, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so we looked at DOT. I'm just going down the list, and I gotta head out soon, guys, because I was really wanting to do this live at 2 o'clock, and my wife's already made dinner, so I just gotta like go through these requests. I will go through. What I'll do is I'll pull up the charts of the ones I can go through. So we're gonna look at file. And I'll put that to the far right. We'll look at, what else do you guys have here? Where are we? Oh yeah, Cubic, of course. Yeah. Cubic is another one I want to get more tokens of. I don't have very much Cubic, but I definitely want to invest more in. I think it's one of those like hidden gems that can do well. The on-chain, like not the on-chain, the tokenomics are good. And they improved, which makes me feel better about the project. Like they're working on making the tokenomics better and better, and like that kind of stuff makes me feel pretty good. And Altcoin Corey wants to look at Karma, so we can obviously look at that because Karma is our child. Okay, and what else we got? Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. I think that's everything. I have the list. Oh, Ondo. Ondo was another request. All right, there we go. All right, so file first. So file, where are you at, man? Files chart is looking, it looks just like dots in a sense, except we got a little bit of relative weakness. We have some like historical levels where we can get like a legacy SFP off of, like way over here and way over here, but those are aged. Those are very aged. Like they don't have to happen. You might see on some data that there might be liquidity there, but the liquidity most likely left way up here already. But the downside with liquidity heat maps is they don't show you when the liquidity is left most of the time. They'll only show you where it has entered. So when it's that old, the liquidity might not be there anymore. There definitely is buyers here. Like this is the buyer zone for file. Guy bought some file. But look here, we see we were preparing for an SFP here. We got it right here. Did amazing. That was an amazing SFP. But we didn't go very far up before we double top. So the SFPs in general are usually short-term trades. You got to look at your local resistance levels like this value area low, for example, and prepare to exit. The R&R on this would have been terrible because of the size of the wick when we got acceptance into this range again. And we came back down, so we can delete that. We don't need that anymore. And technically, you could look at this as an SFP opportunity too, right? And your barrier would be here. You'd be watching the value area low. And we hit that barrier, and you most likely would exit, especially if you saw like a sell wall. And then we got a lower low, confirming this as resistance. Like you can tap these and create higher lows, but that's like just technically just a tap. When it's confirmed as resistance, when we got that break of structure. And now we can watch this level where we can potentially get an SFP. So hopefully we get some range bound activity here first, grab that liquidity, get acceptance into that range, and then have a really good legacy SFP and rotate back up to this value area low. And then next time when we come around to this value area low, what we really want to see is acceptance back inside of it. Because if we get that acceptance back inside, then we're golden. I bought some file very recently because of the macro picture, right? The macro picture, we're at the bottom of a massive, massive range. Like this range is like over 1,000 days old, I believe. Right, we've been ranging here for 1,032 days, roughly. So I bought some here when we got this like break of downtrending momentum. We got the change of character on the 15 and the hourly. We got lots of reasons for a long and a potential rotation up to here. But just like everything else, when that summit gave us a massive nothing burger, like I'm not blaming the summit because if this drop was going to happen, it's going to happen no matter what. Especially if you see like Bitcoin's daily price action, it's daily is bearish. So until we get like a daily change of character, it's going to remain bearish. So right now, we are monitoring this momentum, and hopefully we get a strong reversal off 256 SFP level and break this momentum with the change of character, and we can start hopefully getting acceptance back inside the macro value area with a break of structure. Watch this downtrending momentum here on the larger time frames. We got broad momentum here to watch. And when that breaks, we can hit the macro resistance. But I'm watching 584 level as my potential first take profit, depending on how we respond to it. If we get like a head and shoulders or a double top and a change of character, I'm going to close about 75%. And then at that point, the rest of it will be pure profits. And I can let it ride emotionlessly, hopefully through like another bull run. Kyle, how high do you foresee File to go considering the 1,000 plus DA of accumulation? Got it. Oh yeah, we already got that answered. Sorry, I read that literally. I know you meant 1,000 day. Any approximate date and time for the cubic video, Kyle? No approximate time. No, sorry. Ondo and Ave. So we got Ondo pulled up here so we can prepare for. Ondo, I bought some around here, and it was a really strong position. Like it started incredibly strong. Like I basically got this tap down here, and we were up like 25% roughly. Then we had a head and shoulders. We came down, lost this more macro momentum here that was holding it up. What is that trend line? That trend line is terrible. I don't know what happened there. Oh, that's not a trend line. That's a target. If we hold this and we got our bounce break based on the flag structure, we got a $3 target if we break this. But we have to watch all these liquidity concerns along the way up where we can see market makers exit. Now, Ondo is a good range-bound price action asset. So controlling your average is going to be remarkably easier with Ondo than it is going to be with a large majority of other assets. So if you're a range trader, like Ondo is a great one to like accumulate with. If you're buying low, selling high, buying low over and over again with the intention of using the funds that you use from the buy and selling here, and using that profit difference to just reaccumulate, like you can accumulate a lot of free tokens. Previous value or high. So here this is like a last little demand zone in line with this range bound value area high. This is about a 96, close to 100-day value area high, and we're testing it right now. So if Ondo is going to reverse, it's got to reverse now, basically. Kind of like DOT, kind of like File. They're in a make it or break it location. So here would be technically a good spot to prepare for an accumulation. Our key area is right here on the 4-hour and the hourly. So we got 4-hour and hourly time confluence. So an hourly would be a front run to the 4. A 15-minute flush confluence too. But we have a 15-minute level lower at 83.91 right here. So we don't get our change of character occurrence on the 15-minute until we break that level. We got the VWAP there too. So we might have VWAP confluence if we went straight up. Right? If we break that, we'll break the VWAP and confluence with that. However, the VWAP is likely going to reset before that even occurs. When the daily candle closes, it'll appear roughly around here. Kind of like where you see this kind of effect right here. This is when the daily candle closed and it resets to the price action and defines the average of that day. So this is the entire day of Ondo right here. But yeah, we gotta basically see that change of character occurrence now after bouncing off of this macro downtrending momentum and the valley area high. We kind of dip down below a little bit of this demand zone. So prepare for a potential reversal on Ondo, like maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight. Like we're at that make it or break it kind of period now. Enjoy your super bros. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Cubic. Going down to Cubic. I'm going to say down because that's all it's really been doing. Let's go to Cubic on the daily. So Cubic lost a pretty critical level. Now I know this isn't Cubic's full historical price action. So the downside with that is I can't find a chart that has all the historical price action. So I'm going to have to probably use something else other than TradingView to define key levels, because every TradingView chart doesn't have all of its historical price action. But what we do know from what we're seeing here, like you would look at this and think that we're in price discovery, but we're not. We don't have that little dinosaur over here, right? We just have our first liquidity on gate.io. We had this valley area low act as resistance and gives a lower low. And then after losing that valley area, we kind of just plummeted ever since. Like we lost 50% of its market cap. That's insane. That's wild. So if you're just using raw market structure and you don't have historical key levels to assist you in finding a change of character occurrence that will work well in confluence with a key level of support, then what we're going to look for, let's go to the hourly, is a hopefully full body acceptance above here, or the full body candle above this location. We have a wick way up here, which is showing us that this supply zone could be mitigated. But I'm not going to, this is not like really a trader's asset. This is more of an investor's asset. So if you're trying to get in on a position of strength, you'd want to wait for a high time frame change of character. Like hourly is pretty good. The 4 hours way up here. So if you're jumping in on the hourly, you got to be aware that the 4 hour is stronger. And the 4 hour trend is bearish. So you got to watch this potentially acting as a form of resistance along the way up. Just like it did here, we're going to be wicked up, smacked it way back down. And we're starting to get bullish divergence. Our volume trends are looking... Yeah, we're starting to get a decrease in volume ever since we got to here, right? So we want to see a break of the volume trend in confluence with the break of this neckline. And then we can start targeting this level again and hopefully surpass it. If we break past this in the 4 hour, then we can start seeing that domino effect where the strong highs get broken from higher and higher time frames. Thoughts on a long entry on Bitcoin? Well, it depends on your strategy. My strategy says no, not right now. But I'm a super patient trader. I don't ever feel like I need to be jumping into a trade. It's a 4 hour. That's the hourly. 15. So I like to use the 15-minute time frame the most. Right now, it looks like we're getting like a V-shaped recovery. It's not too high volume recovery. Got some bullish divergence. So we have some confluence there. Key level that I would want to look for broken is like way up here, unfortunately. What I would prefer to see, if I want things to be more picture perfect for the way I like to trade, is like a deviation down lower to define a lower change of character. Because I'm gonna watch this momentum here as a potential barrier. We could test this and then get squeezed against this demand zone right here. So we can see like a ping pong effect probably through here. But this is our key level that I'd be patiently waiting for a long position. It's either a retest off of that. Yeah. It all depends on like your your strategy, what kind of leverage you use. Like you shouldn't be choosing your leverage. The chart should be choosing your leverage technically. Like you define a budget with your stop loss, right? And your stop loss percentage drawdown defines your what kind of leverage you're allowed to use. So anything below like 90%, for example, 0.90%, for example, would allow you to use something like 100x leverage. But your budget should always be the same. Like what you're trying to lose should be the exact same quantity every single time you jump into a trade, unless you're doing compound risk management, where like your every win or every loss defines like what kind of monetary value your stop loss is going to be. Because your account will fluctuate and grow. I use milestone risk management, so I have a fixed level. So I'll trade with a $10,000 scalp account, risk to lose 100 to gain 200 or more. It will always be 100 to gain $200 or more with my scalp account. With my swing trading account, it all really depends on like daily or 4-hour levels to be broken before I enter on something like that. And if I have the risk to reward ratio to support it, I risk to lose $1,000 to gain 2,000 or more. Gain a sub. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I gotta catch up to Alex O Crypto. I'm not sure if he's still here, but I gotta catch up to him. He's doing well. He's doing really well. Congrats to him. ADA coin. Yeah, Cardano long term, I'm pretty confident in its growth because of its exposure now to the government. I was looking at this key level to be broken, never got it. So we can get rid of that. Maintain this downtrend. So these key levels save your butt, right? Because it keeps you from entering trades that could just go immediately against you. We have this downtrending momentum here. And now we've approached this previous level that we wanted to have broken that's helped spark this massive move and confluence with the news event, right? But we can delete that. We don't need that anymore. What we have here, we can actually update this to about here. Move this over here. So we have this relatively strong valley area. Well, we also have like this little micro valley area over here that we can monitor from here to here. We get a horizontal array, define a value area high. Just another horizontal array, another one here, right? So we got the previous point of control, previous value area high, and previous value area low. So the price action's behaving off of this value area relatively predictably, right? Like we came down, bounced off of the previous point of control. We got like a engulfing candle here with, it's a momentum based candle. We have a flat level. I love flat levels for entering longs, like especially if they're off key levels like this. We got that engulfing candle. So what I would look for if I were like to jump in on a trade when we have these engulfing candles is just watch the barrier concerns. And if the R&R is worth it, then you can jump in. The R&R right now is like a 1-to-1, so I wouldn't be touching it. But I love seeing that kind of stuff in preparation for exits or entries. The momentum right here is kind of similar to what we saw with SUI, what we saw with Chainlink. We're getting a compression of the momentum, like basically a short squeeze against these key levels of previous resistance that are now acting as support. So I would recommend like drawing like a triangle box zone here so you can mentally prepare for a potential reversal opportunity coming up soon. Our key level on the hourly is up here if we need to have this level broken. And this is like an area I have marked right here as like a high VPVR interest level. There's a lot of interest there. So if we break this level, we'd most likely have a volume backed break. So I'm expecting if we hold this off as support and we break this momentum, that we're going to see this act as resistance the first time we come around, retest the previous value area low, and come up and give us a potential inverse head and shoulders recovery structure. So that's what I'll be watching out for, because of the market structure behavior is likely going to give us the pathing of something like that. So a lot of assets right now are in a spot where they need to recover. They're all in like a make it or break it kind of moment. And so that doesn't mean buy. A lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, that means it's a really good trade opportunity to buy. Make sure that you have the confirmation first, because things can definitely go lower. Cluck, cluck. That's up, Crypto Pollo. Like every time they see that, it makes me smile. Do you think Ondo is a great project compared to Link? I think that they're definitely a part of the same universe. That they're both RWAs. So I wouldn't, if you're going to be buying Chainlink, you would have reason to want to buy something like Ondo. So I have more weighted value towards something like Chainlink, because I think it's going to have more of a immediate impact over the world. But Ondo is definitely a good pick. So I'm not bashing Ondo in any way, shape, or form. If anything, if you're going to focus just on an RWA portfolio, Ondo and Chainlink should be your top two by far. They in my opinion, they defeat like all other RWA projects. Hey guys, let's let Kyle go eat. Love you, bro. All right, I should go. I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Appreciate the new sub there, Puffy Gaming, and appreciate all the tips, guys. Like I think I broke a record there. I appreciate it. I'm in the center of the screen still. I'm just gonna hop myself back over. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for jumping on. We'll see the community at the live tomorrow morning for trade hunting. Hopefully we find some great trade opportunities tomorrow around 9:30. And thanks again, everyone who's jumped on to watch the live. Thanks, guys. Bye.